Every Stardew Valley player, no matter how good they are, is bound to make a few mistakes. Even the creator of the game has made a few mistakes of his own. So in this video, we're going to take a look at some common mistakes in Stardew Valley that you never want to make. And if you like this video and want to see more like it, make sure to subscribe, it helps me out a ton. But with that being said, let's get into it. One mistake I still make all the time is forgetting to get all of the items I need for the community center in each season. There's nothing worse than seeing that you just need one more summer forageable to finish a bundle. You step outside to try and find the item, and you realize, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. It's always such a pain having to wait an entire year just to get one more item that you missed out on, so try to prioritize the community center so this doesn't happen to you. A mistake that can be pretty frustrating to fix is letting your farm get out of control. It feels like it's so easy to procrastinate cutting down all the trees and all the other things that grow on your farm. The problem with this is that it honestly takes no time at all for your farm to become a complete disaster if you don't take care of it. If you can't get from the top to the bottom of your farm without bringing along a pickaxe and an axe, you know you're in trouble. So do yourself a favor and just take a little bit of time out of each day to make sure that your farm's in good shape. Here's a mistake I think just about everyone made on their first time playing Stardew Valley. You're mining in Skull Cavern, and you manage to find yourself your very first Prismatic shard. You read the item description, and Stardew Valley gives you what might be the worst advice you could ever get in this game. It suggests that you should go donate it to Gunther, and you naively listen. Gunther is then more than happy to rob you of one of the most important items in the entire game. So this one does hit pretty hard, and honestly to this day I still don't forgive Concerned Ape for that awful item description. One mistake you absolutely never want to make in Stardew Valley is talking to Clint. At first he doesn't seem so bad. You just pay him some money and he upgrades your tools. It's honestly not a bad deal. Once you step behind that counter and try to have a conversation though, you're in for a bad time. Here's how the average conversation with Clint actually goes. So yeah, just take my advice on this one and don't make the mistake of talking to Clint. Although it's really tempting, a mistake you never want to make is planting your trees too close to a body of water. Trees planted all along the sides of a pond looks amazing. It's like a little oasis in the middle of your farm. It might look nice, but you'll soon realize what the issue is as soon as you try to cut down any of your trees. Also going along with this, planting crops near water does not automatically water them for you. I really hope I'm not alone on this one, please let me know if you guys did this too, but when I first started playing Stardew Valley, I was pretty much convinced that as long as I planted something near water, I would never have to water it again myself. As you can imagine, that one did not go so well. One mistake that I think is so hard to get away from is realizing that gifts can wait. I understand how amazing it is to make Harvey's day by giving him his morning coffee. And who could resist Pam's glowing face when you give her her favorite beverage? The unfortunate downside to all of this incredible generosity is that you end up going broke pretty fast. So although it's unfortunate, I personally think it's best to wait until your farm is really up and running before you start going and giving gifts to other villagers. In my opinion, picking the beach farm as your first farm is a mistake. Don't get me wrong, the beach farm is amazing. The aesthetic of this farm is absolutely stunning. It also has supply crates that wash up onto its shores, and it features a dock that you can use to fish on. All these perks come with one major downside though. You can't put sprinklers on the sand here, which makes farming extremely difficult. The beach farm is actually supposed to be a challenge farm, and its goal is to push experienced players towards finding new and creative ways to make money. This means that it is an amazing farm for experienced players, but playing this as your first farm is probably a mistake. If you're on the PC version of Stardew Valley and you're not using mods, you're making a huge mistake. Mods introduce such a wide variety of new things into the game, such as tractors that help you go around your farm, planting and harvesting crops extremely quickly. You can see what the anime version of what every character in the game would look like. And who could forget Among Us Krobus? So as you can tell, if you're not using mods, you are definitely missing out. A mistake I still make sometimes is accidentally gifting villagers the thing I'm holding in my hands. There have been dozens of times where after a long mining trip, I have a full inventory and I'm just holding whatever I mined over my head. I go to the town and I try to put my social anxiety aside and speak to the people around me. And of course, I immediately screw it up and gift them a rock. So to try to avoid this situation, just be really careful about what you're holding in your hands when you go to talk to somebody. I always feel so guilty when I accidentally give someone an awful gift. Except of course, when that someone is Haley. A really easy mistake to make is not realizing that you cannot walk through a field of green beans. Don't be deceived by their humble appearance. These things are made out of pure stone, and the only way you're getting through them is with a pickaxe. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that I've actually made this mistake twice in 1 year before, once with green beans and once with grapes, so try to be better than me and don't make this mistake. A mistake I am still always guilty of is not organizing my chests. Just trying to find one item usually ends up with me searching through 10 or more chests because I have absolutely no clue where it could be. Luckily though, Stardew Valley has a super easy way that you can stay organized. You're able to color code all of your chests so that you can make them make sense for what they have inside. For example, a blue chest could have all of your fish in it. Unfortunately though, I am so painfully unorganized that even this method does not really work for me. If you can honestly tell me what I was trying to do with each of these colored chests, I will personally applaud you. I was the one that made them, and I still have no clue what each of them is supposed to represent. So try to learn from my mistakes and organize your chests a little better than me. Another mistake players often make is making their farms way too big. In theory, this sounds like a good idea. More crops is more money, so why not plant as much as you can? The problem becomes pretty clear though once you try to actually manage this many crops. If just watering all the plants you have makes your character absolutely exhausted, you probably have too many. So do your best to keep your farms modest so you can save some energy for other things. This next mistake might be a little bit contentious, but personally I think it's a mistake to not choose mushrooms over bats. Once you earn 25,000 gold, Demetrius comes to your house and he asks you if he can use your cave to either research bats or mushrooms. Now bats are really cool because they make fruit spawn in your cave, and these fruit can be great gifts or they can be really helpful for completing some things in the community center. My issue with this though is that fruit really aren't that valuable and they're pretty easy to get. Mushrooms on the other hand can actually be pretty valuable. They don't make great gifts, but they can also be used in the community center like fruit, so that's a good upside to them as well. So my personal take is, unless you have a really good reason not to, I say going for mushrooms instead of bats is probably the best way to go. And of course, one of the worst mistakes you can make in Stardew Valley is caring about your mistakes. Stardew Valley is easily one of the most flexible and forgiving games I have ever played. There is honestly no mistake you could make that would actually ruin your game. And learning and improving is half of the fun of Stardew Valley. So don't worry about being too perfect, and just have a good time. And with that, that's all the mistakes I have for you today. Make sure to leave any of the mistakes you've made in the comments below, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.